What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we are going to be in the garage putting together these new Harbor Freight titanium fabrication tables. They just came out this week on the website. They've been trickling into stores over the last couple of weeks, but I got my hands on some and we're going to clean up the garage, get everything set up, and kind of set up a new fabrication welding kind of setup in the garage. It has been a long 6 months of working on the S10 and then wheeling it, working on it, wheeling it, long trips, and I just have not got around to getting the garage back into shape. And it is in shambles. It is absolutely destroyed. I've already spent like 5 hours in here, and you can see I actually have some workspace now. We still have the TDI engine and transmission down here on the ground because we're still doing that TDI diesel swapped RX-7. But I got to get the S10 back up and ready for snow wheeling. We got to build a driveline because I bent my driveline in Fordyce. So this is one of the things that I'm going to be using. The first project I'm using these fabrication tables on is going to be building a driveline. So let's unbox this and start putting it together. Okay, guys, we got this thing unboxed. We got our legs that they're threaded. We got our bolts here for the legs. Got our forelegs here. And this is just a midsection support plate that's going to bolt in between all the legs right here. And all of our accessories, our mounts and stuff to hold our material on the table is right here. So we'll go over that and look at that later once we got it set up. But we can actually just bolt these corner pieces on and then install our feet like that, and then we can have it on a tabletop on top of your workbench or whatever you want to do. My initial plan was to put one on my workbench here like this way, and then the second one I have casters. These are also Harbor Freight casters. These are about $5.99 a piece, little rubber casters with locks, and one is going to be a mobile table that I can move around and put whatever I want. So I don't know if I'm going to have room to actually put one on here, so I'm going to clean this up a little bit more, and then we're going to set it up on the workbench to see if I can make that work. Otherwise, we're only going to do one table with casters so they can move it around and have the mobility. And then once I have this engine and transmission and all this stuff out of this corner, I'll have room for another table that'll be just permanently set right here. And then I could roll this guy over and meet the two together and have two tables together. But like you guys, my garage is not very big. I just don't have room for a big fabrication table, so this is perfect. In order to install these casters on these legs, the thread pitch in this nut on the bottom of the leg just does not match up with the thread pitch and the size of the caster, so we're gonna go ahead and drill these out. I went ahead and spent the extra time in just like maybe 5 extra minutes total to tap the end of them so I don't have to run a nut on the top of it. If you don't have a tap or you don't feel like doing it, just run a nut to hold the caster on. Here's the table fully assembled. We got our wheels on it and it rolls around, which is awesome. I really like that. Then I can lock the wheels and it doesn't move. And then I went ahead, and this is a chunk of my old workbench that was sitting over there that was bolted to this that stuck out that my welder was under. I took that off because I knew I was going to be trying to do something here. So I took that off, and it was sitting in the backyard. So I cut this chunk to fit in here, and then we're going to use this as a place to put our tools. So these guys I'll find a better way to do this. But all this stuff, it's gonna go here in nice tubs. You guys get the picture. You can do whatever you want. Use a piece of plywood, use a piece of sheet metal, whatever you have laying around to put down there. I'm gonna spend a few minutes setting up some examples of how you would use these tools that came with it, and then we'll get back with you. Okay guys, so I got a general handle on most of these accessories here. Obviously this is for tube, a V-notch here. So these guys right here actually go into the table from the top, and the nut attaches on the bottom, but we're not going to do that right now. So for example, I have this tube notched right here, and I need to weld it to this guy, for example. So I have it set up on my V-notches here, and I'll throw another V-notch here where I want it to go, and it lines up nice just like that. And then we'll add this guy right here on the bottom. So I am going to have to add tools to the workbench, like down here in the bottom, that tightens down all the different accessories and stuff. For right now I'm just finger tightening, and this rod, it just slides on here, and then we can just tighten it down a little bit. And then this guy right here, we can tighten down a little bit. And I mean, this isn't a perfect setup. This is just an example. Like, I mean, obviously we have to weld here, but this will give us a good chance to tack weld everything around it, and then we can move it around and do that. So that's one way you could use it. And like this guy right here, I have this long piece of DOM right here. So let's say we need to weld something onto the end of this guy right here. We have it all cleaned up and nice. We can just use these V-notches, and I can spin it like this, and I can weld and weld. I don't have to hold it, because normally I'm welding like this. Down, down, I spin it, down. This time I could, if you have a buddy too, you could have somebody turn it as you weld it, or just do it yourself, or just do it the same way I always did it, is just weld sections at a time. But that is an option. Another thing to consider is you might just want to, if you're tack welding something, just hit the welding clamp on the table. My personal preference is I still probably am not going to do that. I'll probably try and put it actually on the piece of material if I can. Obviously, if I'm going to spin it as I'm welding, that's not going to work. These pieces right here, these seem to be cast aluminum, and I'm not sure how well they're going to transfer the ground to the workpiece itself. Because, you know, if you don't have a good connection, it's not going to weld well, and it's going to arc, and you're going to end up with burn marks all over your tooling and your tool. These backstops, if you're trying to make repeatable pieces, like you're making a box and you need to make a bunch of them, you can spend some time, set it up with your backstops and set it up. Boom, we got our curve right there. This is probably like a 45 just from the scrap bin. So we got it up off the table, up in a nice place, and then clamp her down, and we can clamp down on both sides, and then we have a nice solid place to start with. You could even, if you want stuff, you want to cut stuff, you know, whatever, use your imagination and figure out how you want to make this work for the projects that you're doing. So I was trying to figure out these guys right here, and it seems like they go into here, and these have magnets on the bottom, and they line up with these holes, and then they stay there. So we can put these here, and we can tighten these guys down without dropping them on the bottom side, and use these as adjustable backstops. I'm not a professional. I am just figuring this out right now, and you know, leave me a comment down below how you would use this. I don't know if I would use this. So we can tighten that down, and that's an adjustable backstop. We can loosen it up. We can move it around, forward or backwards, and then tighten it down. And just another type of backstop, and that's what I believe these guys are for right here. So the first project I'm going to be doing with this new fabrication table is building a custom driveline for the S10. I have some custom splined yokes right here and a custom yoke right here. We'll go into that in a future video when I make the driveline. But I bent the driveline in the S10 at Fordyce. I got to fabricate a new one. I decided to make it myself. It's going to cost a lot of money, but I think in the long run it's going to be worth it. But we're going to be able to utilize these V-notches here in order to get our DOM tube all squared up on the table and make sure everything is nice and square when we press in all of our yokes and everything into our DOM and welding and everything. So that'll probably be the first actual test of this fabrication table. That's going to be it for this video. Short and sweet. I just wanted to show you guys this real quick. I didn't actually end up setting up the second one. I just set it on top of my workbench over there. It might end up staying there until I end up moving this engine, like I said earlier, and then actually putting it on the stand over there. That's kind of on hiatus right now, but we have one good operating one up on my other workbench that I might keep there. I'm not really sure, but make sure you check this out, Harbor Freight. It's on their website now. It's in the stores now. It is $169.99. Their old welding table, while it was like 60 bucks, I used it for years. I definitely got my $60 out of it, but this is a huge step up over that other table for sure. That thing just went out in the backyard, going to the scrap for sure, because I have no need for it now that I have this. This is so much better. So if you want to check me out on social media, I am at MuddyBeards4x4. We got a website, shirts, stickers, stuff like that, muddybeards4x4.com. If you want discount codes like Barnes 4-wheel drive, use a link in the description, give you 10% off of your order. It is that time of year to be fabricating, building, working on your projects, which is what I'm ramping up to do, is working on the S10 and then working on the RX-7, and then we're going to be getting back to the Jeep. I promise. I still have it, still in the side of the house, still runs. Everything still works on it, just doesn't have any axles right now. So stay tuned, subscribe, and until next time, guys, we will see you back here in the garage.